Hi knitters, welcome to PJ Knits. Today's episode is number 16 and it is called 7542. What that means is, as of today, October 11th, there are 75 days till Christmas and 42 days till Thanksgiving. Eek! And I have a lot to get done. So this is about Christmas knitting prep, at least at PJ Knits. That's today's theme. And welcome back. Welcome to the new viewers. I'm so excited when I see new subscribers. Thanks for coming by. I do appreciate it. And also, if you know of anybody else who might want to tune in, please let them know. We'd love to have them. And join our PJ Knits group on Ravelry. I'm Penny J on Ravelry, and I am PJ Knits on Instagram, and our group on Ravelry is PJ Knits, and we'd love to have you come join. So, it's October 11th. 2 days ago in Central Illinois, it was like 90 degrees and hot and humid. This morning, let's see, right now it's 49 degrees, and so for the foreseeable future, the next week, it's going to be kind of like 49, 50-ish highs all week. So we're getting the cool weather that we finally were waiting for. Maybe just a little too cool too quick, but I'm not complaining because it is sweater weather. And I love sweater weather. I was so looking forward to cooler temps after the heat and the humidity we've had lately. So anyway, it is a beautiful sunny Thursday afternoon in Central Illinois. I have the day off. I had a few appointments. We had hospice this morning, and so here I am recording before my next appointment. We've got some great sunshine, some great light coming in, and I'm so excited about that. So let's get started. With it only 75 days away from Christmas, there's a lot to do, a lot of knitting that I want to do, and I wonder about everybody else. Do you have a lot of knitting? My real goal is to have everything done by Thanksgiving, and what I'm knitting is not necessarily Christmas presents this year, but things for the Christmas holiday. I've mentioned before that we're going to have a new granddaughter in the very first part of December, so I need to get busy on her blanket. I have given myself through this weekend to not knit on that. We're going to head over to Iowa to celebrate our grandson's third birthday. And when we get back, then I have to be hot and heavy. I have to be focused totally on my Christmas knitting and that baby blanket. So we're going to talk a little bit about that Christmas things that I'm working on right now to get ready for Thanksgiving in 42 days. Or at least have them in the mail right before that or right after that. And first on my list is stockings. I wanted to just share a little story with you. I have twin boys that are 35. And their very first Christmas, they were born in April, so their very first Christmas, I started Christmas stockings before that, and I decided at that time I was not knitting, I was cross-stitching a lot. And so baby boy B, I started with his stocking, and I did this elaborate cross-stitch stocking that had little squares of different things like drummer boy and candy canes and Santas and all of that, and then finished that. And unfortunately, that took me longer than I thought it was going to be. So then I knew I had to have a stocking for baby boy A. And he got a machine applique one, rudimentary at best, with glued on sequins. And that was his stocking. I was always going to knit or cross-stitch him one, and I just never got around to it. So last year, my daughter-in-law said to me a couple of months before Christmas, hey, if you have some extra time, could you knit my son a new Christmas stocking? I had knit both our granddaughter and our grandson. They both got Christmas stockings knit. And so I think I think she thought it was time that he had a decent Christmas stocking. So last year I knit his, and I did a little, he's a Star Wars fanatic. So I did it the regular red and white and green Christmas stocking, but I threw a little Starfighter Christmas group across for him. And so he got his Christmas stocking last year. And so then I started thinking about this year's, and I'm going to have one for the new baby, but we don't know what the name is going to be till December. So what I'm going to do for her is I'm going to knit that from the top down, and then I'm going to leave a section for the name, and then I'm going to leave live stitches, and then I'm going to go from that point from where the name would be down to the toe and finish it off. And then what I will do is I will pick up the stitches around the top and put the name in it and join it to the bottom as soon as we know in December when that baby's born and we know what the name is. So that one is to be done as well. Of course, that one will not be done by Thanksgiving, but should be done almost as soon as the baby is born. So anyway, my daughter-in-law has not requested a stocking, but when she first came into the family, I knit her a really, it was a purple, her favorite color is purple, so I knit her a purple variegated one, and that was when Fun Fur was in, so it had a Fun Fur top, and it's not Christmassy at all, it's a Christmas stocking, but not in keeping with the red, green, and white theme that the others are. So I decided this year to surprise her, and right now what I'm doing is I am knitting on her a Christmas stocking. I have started hers, and again, little by little, I'm working on this one, and I've started it, and here we go for her. And again, when I get back from Iowa this weekend, then I'm going to be hot and heavy to get this done, because I want it to be done in time for Thanksgiving, and I want to send that over to her. So I have a stocking on the needles, and that's what I'm going to be working on first for the baby. And as far as the pattern that I'm using Arne and Carlos pattern. It's off of their website. It's called How to Knit a Christmas Stocking by Arne and Carlos. And I follow their YouTube videos because they have a lot of tutorial videos, and I love seeing their items that they're doing. And so the neat thing about this pattern, and here it is, it's going to be a variation of this. On their stocking up here at the top, they have reindeer, and what I'm going to do is maybe put the reindeer down for hers here and then use basically the same pattern. This is a free pattern from their website, and the neat thing about this is they have little, if you have you want tutorials that refer back to things, they have a little click through when you go on their website, and will bring up their YouTube videos that show different techniques. And I just love their, and then you can print off the chart. And again, this is free pattern from them. And what they do is they link to several different videos that they do YouTube videos on for the different techniques. They show a short row heel on one of them that you can click through that. They talk about steaming the stocking when it's done. They talk about how to control your tension when you're doing two-color knitting. And one of the things I really like is, I think it's Carlos. It is Carlos. He has knits like I do with two colors, where he only uses, he drops the one, he does the knitting, and he's a thrower, and he drops the thread he's not using and picks up the next one when he's knitting with the second color. So I occasionally do that as well in my two-color knitting, but I'm also doing right now, I'm using on the stocking, I'm using my right hand, and I have a thread over the one finger and a thread over the other. And I kind of learned this from Meg Swanson at a knitting camp a few years back. She's a picker, but she does it sometimes with her left needle and left hand, and does the picking on that. And so I've kind of got this thing going where I can get those two fingers working on simple patterns like that. And because it keeps it really loose for me as well. So if I'm not doing this, I'm dropping and picking up, because I tend to, if I try to pick and throw, I get a tight left hand stitch. So, and then it puckers a lot. So I have an issue with that. So those are a couple of things that I have just kind of learned from the Arne and Carlos website. And so I kind of encourage you to check out their YouTube videos. They do a lot of Norwegian knitting. They're based in Norway. And so that's kind of my jam right now, having my husband is of Norwegian descent. And I've always been enamored with Norway, but it just, is doubly cool when you're married to a Norwegian couple of times removed. So anyway, that's the kind of things that I have that I found out from Arne and Carlos. And so I just encourage you to check them out. Now, one of the things that's been very helpful for me when it comes to doing all the names that I've had to do for the stockings is I bought several years ago, and I believe I picked this up. I want to say it was from Fringe Supply, but it's called Knitter's Graph Paper Journal. And I picked this up from them. I'm fairly certain that's where it came from. It's been several years, and I will put that in the show notes where I did come. But it's just a book of graph paper, and what I've done is I have in my notebook, I have all the letters that I've used for all the stockings that I've made so far, and I just kind of keep them there and use them and save them. They stay in my little next to my chair, so I always know where my graph paper's at. On my granddaughter's stocking, we shortened her name on the first stocking, and then about a year or two later, my kids asked if I would take the short name out and put the long name in until she decided what she wanted to be called. So I did that, and so I had to re-graph. But I really like this Knitter's Graph Paper Journal, and it has some really cool things in it. It has some knitting symbols cheat sheet in the back, should I ever want to design anything or chart anything out on my graph paper as well. And then in the front, it has some information of yarn weights and washing, and then another needle checklist that you can keep track of your needles. But anyway, this is called Knitter's Graph Paper Journal. Originally, it is put out by, you can also look at knittersgraphpaperjournal.com. And so, but I will link to the show notes of where I actually got it. So that's something cool that I've been using for my stocking knitting and for the letters that I need. So that's that. One of the things I do like, as far as yarn is considered for my stockings, originally the ones that I did for my granddaughter and my grandson, I used brown sheep wool worsted, and it's kind of like a single, and it's a very sheepy, very sticky yarn, and I loved using it. The only problem is there was no place local that you could actually get it. And so I used up the supply that I had, and then I started last year for my sons. I started using Cascade 220, which I really like for the stockings, even better than the brown sheep. So I'm getting a supply of that. Now, what I will caution you is the closer you get to Christmas, if your local yarn shops do not carry it, getting it from online sources sometimes are a little difficult because people start making things for Christmas and run out of it, and I had a tough time. So this year, when I saw that some of my online shops had it in stock, I built up a supply of it for my future stockings that I may need, because I'm going to need one for my new daughter-in-law next year as well. So anyway, these are the ones that I like using for my stockings. They're the Christmas green, the Christmas red is what they're pegged as, and then a white that's pretty as white as you can get. Maybe just a hint of cream to it, but I like it for all of those. So I really do like this Cascade 220 for my stockings right now. And again, building up a supply. I've got a few in my bag in the yarn room, because I want to make sure that I have plenty down the road should I ever need one for the future. So those are the yarns that I'm kind of using and liking for my stockings right now and for the future. So, books and bags. Well, I just wanted to share some books a couple of books with you that I have in my library that are conducive. Well, one is Christmas stockings, and I've had this one for quite some time. I do love this book. I have gotten some inspiration from some things in this, and I've had this for quite a few years. It is an Interweave Press book. I do not know if it's still available, but it had, I bought this at our local yarn shop, Knit For Together, and they've been out of business for some time, but I do like the many kinds of stockings that they have in here. I particularly like this one, and I think this would be fun to do for our grand dog. I think that's cute for a little dog stocking. That one's called a fetching stocking, and I just think that would be so much fun. Done out of heavy worsted weight. They've got some color work ones. They've got an argyle sock in here, which is cute. I love this little fat little chubby one that's on the cover. It's not as big as I like. There's a striped one in here. I thought this was kind of cool as well. Kind of a jester type stocking. And if you just want to, you know, something pretty, a Scandinavian one, I thought this would be fun in keeping with the Scandinavian Norwegian heritage. I thought that would be fun to do as well down the road. But, you know, as grandchildren come, probably that's all I'll do is for my granddaughter to be. Future grandchildren on my baby boy B side. And then my daughter-in-law, and so that will probably be it. So anyway, Christmas stockings. I love this book, 18 Holiday Treasures to Knit. And like I said, I've had it for quite some time. There's a baby first in there as well, and this is copyrighted interesting. There's not, yeah, 2001 by Interweave Press. So it may not be available, but if you see something in your local shop maybe, or on Amazon, maybe that's still available. So anyway, that's Christmas stockings. And another book that is in my library that I had to have is by Arne and Carlos, and it's called 55 Christmas Balls to Knit. And I bought this not because I necessarily wanted to knit the Christmas stockings that they have, the Christmas balls they have in here, but I bought it for the design for future stockings. Because after a while, I've done reindeers and snowflakes, and I kind of wanted to do something differently. And I will tell you, also on the Arne and Carlos YouTube videos, they have a rather long video where they are knitting a Christmas ball, and they talk about knitting with two colors and tension and a lot of different things. And so I'd encourage you to check that out, and I will link to that YouTube video as well, because I just think it was fun if you got a Sunday afternoon to sit and knit and watch them knit and talk about all of the designs and how to do them and how to close them. I think you'd enjoy that. So I really do. I like this book, and I've seen it in a lot of different yarn shops as well. It's one of their older books, but it has great charts in it for each of the designs, and it has a heart section, and I like this way this is so cool, where they put these in a box. If you're inclined to do those, there's some metallics on that. So I really like this book for some ideas. This is 55 Christmas Balls to Knit, Colorful Festive Ornaments, Tree Decorations, Centerpieces, Wreaths, Window Dressings, and it's by Arne and Carlos. So check that one out. So those are a couple of books, and then I want to talk about a bag. This is a bag that I've had a while. A couple of years ago, the bag company 31, people do book parties on those, and it was kind of making the rounds at work, and we did it like a fundraiser as well at work. And that year, part of the fundraiser, I bought a bag. I wanted a bag for me to help the fundraising, and so I bought this one. And at the time, I thought it'd be great because I like to do a little bit of Christmas knitting, not just stockings and things like that, but maybe ideas for things for Christmas presents. And so what I did is I had them embroider on it the Christmas trees with the cardinal and PJ knits. And so this has become my Christmas knitting bag, the things that I stick my yarn, my etc. in, that of ideas that I might want to knit for people. And in it right now is a couple of things. Right now it has a Harry Potter colorway that I bought 2 years ago at Stitches Midwest. And this is going to be a sock for my future daughter-in-law next year. What I do at Christmas time for all the kids, and I have done since my kids were old enough to have things in their stocking, is and for my husband as well. But everybody in their stocking gets either underwear or socks, and that's the way it's been. And so I thought next year this would be perfect to knit her a pair of socks, and then I have another house colorway for my son, and I thought that he can have the other house's colorway knitted socks in his stocking. That will be their Christmas stocking presents for next year. So this is in my bag for next year. It's going to be a stocking. And with Christmas time coming, one of the things that, it's what I call my, what I wish I had time to knit. And I really want, for me, for my holiday wearing for parties or Christmas Eve or gatherings with friends, I wanted two things, and one of them I know I'm not going to get done because I just don't have time. But I want to do a Christmas shawl, and I have the colors upstairs, the colorways upstairs, the yarn, and what I need to do is put them in my bag for next year with the stockings so that I am ready to go, and I will have a Christmas shawl. It's one of the shawl patterns out of the Minnesota 52 book that I want to do, and the yarn is from Leading Men, and it's a Christmassy but not super Christmassy colorways that I would love to have done for this year, but I just don't think that's going to happen. So the other thing though I really want to have done, and for Christmas and through really Valentine's Day, is I started this again last year, and this is from the Minnesota 52 book, and it is also in my little Christmas bag, Minnesota 52 book. It is my understanding is that these are on sale right now, and they're down to their last box. So if you're wanting this book in this form, I encourage you to go out to their website, look it up, Minnesota 52, and buy one of these. I love this book. I want to almost knit everything in it, and over time. I love the gals, Megan and Corey as well. I love them. I love their designs, so if you want that book, you better head out and get it. But anyway, one of the patterns in it that I've been knitting on for a year, I keep putting it away and bringing it back, and I need to get back on it at some point in time because I'd love to have it for definitely when the snow flies. And this is the Nice Capades sweater, and I am working on it. But right now it's not getting any love, but I hope to. It is housed again in my Christmas bag, and here it is. And it's out of Madeline Tosh, and yes, this is one that I had to go back and recast on a little ways back because I needed to alternate the colors in that. And it's a beautiful red and so Christmassy, so I want to get back at that. The snowflakes are going to be this yarn. They've got a little sequin on it, and it's Aria double knitting. This is the actual yarn that Corey used double in hers Nice Capades, and I want to get back on that as soon as the stockings and the baby blanket are done, and maybe in between. So anyway, those are a couple of things that are in my Christmas knitting bag here. These are, as some would call, dream knitting. But I just love that, having a designated Christmas bag. And then you always know what's in it. And you can get back going on it. So anyway, that is books and bags. And I'm totally loving all of that. I'm looking forward to everything that I'm knitting right now. And I'm anxious. Oh, I'm so super, super anxious to do some sweater knitting, to get back to sweater knitting for me. But first of all, we got to get this Christmas stuff done, and we got to get it done before Thanksgiving, and also the baby blanket. So I'm wondering, Christmas traditions. What kind of Christmas traditions do you have? I'm going to open up a thread in the Ravelry group, and I'd love to hear some traditions that you all have. You know, I've already shared with the ones that we do with socks and underwear in the stocking, but also one of the things that I have been enamored with for quite some time is the Norwegian Christmas traditions. And some of that is, again, I have talked about the fact that my husband's grandparents were Norwegian, and they spoke Norwegian to each other. And one of the things that was so cool about them is they brought, when I married into the family, Bob's parents introduced me to lefse, which is like a potato, very thin potato pancake that you put butter and sugar on, and then you roll it up. Oh my gosh. It is quite a process to make that lefse. And I went online, not in the last couple of weeks, and you can actually buy it from up where my husband's grandparents lived. And I think I might have to have some of that for our holiday this year. I'd love to start doing the Norwegian traditions. There is Bob's mom used to make rosettes, which are actually Swedish, but still a light little crisp cookie that you deep fry and then throw powdered sugar on as they come out. Delish. And one of the things that I love, there is a knitography, which is Patricia, and she is P4 Chen. She has a YouTube channel as well. She's an American who has been living in Norway for a long time, and if you're been watching any YouTube videos, you've probably heard someone talk about her. But last year she did a series of videos on some Norwegian cookies, and she piqued my interest on something called krumkaken that I want to check out. Now, I have to, in all fairness and truth, say, I am not a baker. I am not a cooker. I love to eat. I love all things to eat, almost. I make a mean peanut butter fudge, and that's about the extent of it. That is my Christmas tradition for my inner family and my people that I supervise at work. They always get peanut butter fudge. It's a tradition my mom started. She was the peanut butter fudge maker. And when she passed away, the recipe was kind of lost until one 4th of July weekend. I was looking for something in a desk to show my aunt who was there for lunch. And there it was. There was the peanut butter fudge. Well, actually, it was a chocolate fudge recipe. And I was like, well, this doesn't do me any good. And when I looked a little bit further on the side, my mother had written in red, for peanut butter fudge, I do this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, talk about somebody speaking to you on the 4th. And it was the 4th of July, a holiday that we always got together with my aunts and my moms. And it was kind of like pulling that out of the desk drawer and seeing that, going like, this is a sign from my mom saying, hey, it's in red here. And so anyway, that is my tradition for Christmas, is that I do peanut butter fudge, a lot of peanut butter fudge, and carrying that tradition on from my mom, which I love, and I think it's pretty doggone good. But anyway, I would like to start some of those Norwegian baking traditions, rosettes. Definitely not making lefse, but I will buy it and contribute it to our dinner. But maybe looking a little bit further into the Norwegian Christmas traditions. I'm just in love with a lot of things Norway. I wish I had enough years or time to learn Norwegian. I think that would be a hoot. I would love to do that. I would love to visit Norway someday. So would my husband and my son and my niece, to come where their great grandparents came from. I've always loved Norway, though. It's not just since 42 years ago when I married my husband. I've always loved. Even I can remember in probably grade school when we were studying the countries. I got a kick out of that country with the mountains that went down. We had a globe that my mom got with green stamps, and it had where the mountains were on everywhere in the on the globe. It would be raised, and I always thought that was such a cool country where it was situated. So I'd love to do that sometime, to put that on my list among other things. So those are some of the traditions I'd love to start, some of the traditions that we have. And that's why I would love for you to go out on the Ravelry group and talk about Christmas traditions. What are your traditions? Do you have any? And I'm also wondering, are you thinking about any Christmas gift knitting? Do you knit gifts for Christmas? I'd love to know if you do, and what you're knitting on. And have you started yet? And are you panicking like I am? I think I should not say I'm panicking. I think what I can say is I see these, and in a good way, obligation knitting, but with the cooler weather, I really want to be knitting for some sweaters on me. So this is, like I said, I'm taking the weekend to work on a hospice shawl that I'm working on while we're over there. And then when I get back, I got to be fast and furious and get back to doing that knitting that I have to do. So anyway, put those things in the group. We'd love to hear from you. Now, a couple of things more. I just wanted to show you a gadget, another gadget this week. This is from I Love Handles, and I got this as part of a club that I had belonged to for like 3 months. And one of the things that came from I Love Handles, and it's a keychain that also is a measuring, much like our wrist rulers that we have. Only this is a keychain, and I have another one. I have two of them. A friend gave me one that I'm going to use as a keychain. But this one, and what I'm doing is I'm hooking this and putting it in my knitting bag. But what I'm doing to my keychain is I'm putting my markers on it. So they're ready and all there and contained, and I can just pull those off. So I thought that was pretty cool. Another gadget, and this is from I Love Handles. That's who made this keychain. So I thought that was cool. I wanted to share that gadget with you this week. Oops, sorry. And finally, we have a winner for the 15-inch wrist ruler. And the winner of this is Lindsay Ann. And Lindsay, I have your address, so I'm going to get this out to you. It's this 15-inch silver wrist ruler will be coming your way in the next week or so. Thanks for playing. Lindsay Ann, I loved her idea. Her favorite knitting notion or gadget is the sock ruler. And I have a sock ruler. And the thing that Lindsay Ann was telling us about in the group is she loves it, especially for those when you're doing gift knitting for people, because you'll know maybe their foot size, their shoe size, and you can use that sock ruler to make a sock that fits. So Lindsay Ann, thank you so much. I really didn't even think about it in that context. Also, she thinks it can be used for mittens as well, perhaps. And so I think it was Lindsay Ann who said that, but if it's not, somebody talked about that as well. So thanks, Lindsay Ann. We appreciate that favorite knitting gadget, and to everybody who gave us your knitting gadgets. Thanks so much. Final thing today at hospice from Trish, Nina, and Joyce. They made Christmas ornaments and let everyone take one because Joyce was heading out and wasn't going to be able to be there during Christmas. And we all got to choose. There was lots of different colors. And so then this is the one that I picked. Hold that. Isn't that cool for my tree? And isn't that neat? I just thought that was the coolest. They made these, assemble those. There's some sort of something kind of alcohol ink that you'd use on that. It was a new technique to me, didn't know anything about it. And of course I had to have the turquoise bead on there as well. So thank you, Trish, Nina, and Joyce. It will be a special ornament on my tree. Looking forward to that. when we can put that on there. And then I guess that's all I have for you this week. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. We do appreciate it. And next time we're going to talk about sweaters. Even though I'll still be working on some Christmas stockings and baby blankets, we need to get some sweaters because 50 degrees is sweater weather. And so I'm so looking forward to seeing you next time. Until next time, knit on with confidence and hope, and have fun. Enjoy the fall. Oh, I hope you have some great trees coming up. And thanks again.